How are we all doing?
I woke up.
That is a similar thing. I woke up.
Welcome back to the Album Spotlight Podcast, the only podcast that puts a spotlight on albums. My name is Noah.
My name's Freddie.
My name's Nathaniel.
And this week we listened to Beat by Bowery Electric. Yeah, we're kind of dipping back into the shoegaze bag a little bit, but it's trip hop. We haven't talked about a trip hop one yet.
I've never heard a trip hop album like this before. This is very unique, at least from what I've heard in the trip hop scene.
Yeah, this is the second album by I believe New York shoegaze and trip hop band Bowery Electric, released in 1996.
96, goddamn.
Yeah, 96.
I know they had albums back then.
This album feels like it could have been made at any time. It's very, I don't know. Like when I heard it, I'm like, I have no clue when this could have been made. Like I know it was like probably 90s, but like at the same time, it could probably come out now.
Yeah.
Just the sound is so unique and so good.
Yeah. Well, the story behind it, as much as there is one, is that they were a trio, like guitar, bass, and drums. And then after their first album, the drummer left, and they just didn't really replace him with a real drummer. There is a session drummer on some of the tracks here, but they experimented with using drum loops with records on a lot of the tracks, and the ones that do have a live drummer, it's like you have to really pay attention to even tell. Like I didn't know that until recently, just because it's a very repetitive album, but
in a good way.
Yeah, it's like reinforces
so
this.
boring.
Shut up.
Shut up. I mean, there are people who say that.
Yeah, stupid people.
Yeah, they're stupid. Yeah, they should get clubbed like a seal.
Oh my god. That's very aggressive, Noah.
Dirt beneath my boot.
I think they should be disemboweled.
Oh, well, I mean, that's for some reason that's less aggressive to me than getting clubbed like a seal. I don't know
You
why.
can do that in a nice way. That's much more, yeah. What about like being drawn and quartered? Is that better or worse than disembowelment?
That's not as bad, honestly. Yeah, getting clubbed like a seal, I feel like it's like you could just do that to anybody. You're just a blunt instrument.
But it's only certain people who you can draw and quarter, is what you're saying.
And who are these people?
What do you mean exactly? Who's above being drawn and quartered?
Oh no, I'm not saying that. I'm saying like drawing quarters is like a lot of work. Like you have to have
Who's
at least
impervious to it?
No, I'm not saying impervious. I'm just saying you need a lot of people to do shit like that. But getting beat like a seal, you need the one person with a bat or something. But everything else, you need like a plan to do it.
So it's like anybody can do it, but not like anybody can have it done too. This is more what you're saying.
Sure, let's go with that.
Okay, I need to make sure I know exactly what's happening here.
Yeah. What I was gonna say.
It's called Beating, so it brings out a lot of angry feelings in me.
There you go. What I was gonna say is like this album, like it had this similar feeling, which I know it's not even near the sound of this, but like very much like a vaporwave thing, where it's like
I can see it.
The repetitive beat is like kind of like entrances you, kind of like you just get into that beat really hard, and then all these other sounds kind of like come in like a collage almost. But that beat is always the same.
It like hypnotizes you so that you're like vulnerable enough to be clubbed like a seal.
Yeah, right when you least expect it.
Yeah.
God. Oh God. Hey, Noah, Freddie.
Hey, what's up?
What do you think about the cover?
The
Rocks and
rocks.
rolls.
Yeah. For those who can't see, and you're only listening visually,
Look it up, dumbass.
Well, what if they can't see at all? Describe it. Describe it to our blind audience. No, describe it.
So they're not gonna care. They'll never see it.
That's true.
Yeah, but they'll wonder.
They should have thought about that before being blind.
You know, I can't argue with that, honestly.
This is an ableist podcast.
This is an ableist podcast. We only listen to facts and logic, which don't care about your feelings. Okay?
Or your blindness.
Your blindness. We here at the Album Spotlight podcast don't condone ableism. It is very funny, though.
But we do condone wanton violence.
Yeah, club your grandma, but yeah, don't be ableist.
I didn't say that. That's kind of fucked up.
Yeah, man, that's a little far.
Wow, where'd that come from?
You know, sometimes you just you need to decrease the surplus population.
Wow, decrease the population by killing all grandmas? Is that what you're saying?
They've lived long enough. Yeah.
Grandma eugenics? Is that what you're in support of?
I wouldn't say eugenics, but I mean, it just
You
makes
know,
sense.
I'm not a big labels guy, but it's just like
yeah, I'm not a labels guy or anything, but we should kill all old people.
I think we just need to, debate each individual policy on its own merits. Don't put those labels of like eugenics or fascist on me.
Yeah.
I don't appreciate it.
Yeah,
Those
everyone's
are
so
just buzzwords.
The tolerant left.
everyone's so quick to judge these days. Like why can't we just like assess these ideas on their own
No,
merits?
seriously, like you do realize all those Nazis in Florida are just part of Antifa, right? Like it's just like a conspiracy. So like, do your research.
The cover is kind of the
I
inverse.
was waiting. I didn't want to be the
OK
one to say
Computer.
it because I brought up OK Computer last time.
Oh my god, I didn't even think about that until you motherfuckers said it.
This is like that album's like looking at the interchange from above, and now we're looking at it from below.
Honestly, OK Computer ripped this off because this came out first. So
That's true. That's true.
just saying, all you dumbass Radiohead liking bitches.
Oh yeah, because we just hate Radiohead.
I could beat Tom York up.
I mean, you probably could, but like that doesn't
I don't
mean
even need a club for him.
You don't even need a club.
But what were you gonna say? What were you gonna say to like somewhat disagree with my comment, Nathaniel? Why don't you speak up?
Which comment?
That I could beat up Tom York. Come on now.
Oh, I was saying you probably could, but that doesn't make you better than him.
I didn't say that. I just can beat him up.
Oh, in that case, then yeah, I agree with your statement.
No, he's certainly better than me in every way, except in combat. And unfortunately for him, that's what counts.
This is getting too real. Where it's like I could beat him up. Like all that matters is that I could beat him.
And more importantly, my dad could beat up his dad.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
His dad's probably dead.
Okay.
Guess.
After my dad is done with his dad.
we know he will be.
I'm gonna check if his dad is actually dead, but I'm gonna cut that out if that's the case.
I mean, he's like pretty old.
Yeah, he's
right?
probably
He's
dead.
like, what?
Hold on. I'll let me. You guys talk about the album. I'm gonna do some research. Okay. Well, his father seems to be alive as of January 6th.
January 6th.
That's what the article was
What was he
released.
doing on that day?
2023. I don't know.
Somebody who's like,
Well, we saw him. He was doing something there.
I hadn't seen him in a while, and then I couldn't help but notice he was in DC on a certain fateful day.
Yeah, he was confirmed to be alive that day. Let me tell you.
I'll tell you what, he seemed to be doing just fine.
Hey, I just had a thought. Do you guys think like January 6th is like the 9/11 of the 21st century?
I know you're joking, but I think it's probably.
Damn.
Like
Not in terms of lives lost, but maybe in terms of impact.
In terms of impact, like the cultural zeitgeist, yeah, I think it is. But in terms of lives lost, no, obviously not.
Isn't 9/11 the 9/11 of the 21st century?
Yeah, that was the joke.
I'm stupid. You know what? Dates are hard. Dates are really hard.
Yeah. No, I get it.
Yeah.
It was kind of only barely the 21st century. I feel like it's sort of and it was really, it was really a bridge point between the stuff in the 20th century that caused it and the stuff it caused in the 21st century,
I think you could argue
I don't know.
9/11 was the start of the 21st century.
Yeah, in terms of like geopolitics, it kind of was.
Yeah.
Welcome to the politics podcast, ladies and gentlemen.
It's far from the first time.
Oh, I know. I feel dead today. I'm so sorry. I'm not bringing the energy.
I think we have a funny. There's a certain ramblingness to this episode that might be funny.
I think it will be. I'm liking it. I'm liking the vibes.
On the cover, there's like 3 sections, almost equal size. Like the image is just like this little bit band across the middle. It's very pleasing, and
It's
I like
symmetrical.
the.
It is. I think any kind of album cover that has like what is that? What is that called? Where it's like there's like the two things and then just the middle image, but the two things.
Like the rule of thirds kind of thing, but
Yeah.
it's not. It's like different.
Kind of a Chekhov's gun kind of thing.
Yeah, it's a little bit like the MacGuffin, you know.
When your album cover has an aspect ratio, it's looking good. Like Swans has a lot of aspect ratio covers, as I like to call them.
They got a lot of ass.
Ass. Swans is such ass, bro. Well, when I started the album, it was just like the synth line. I'm like, oh, is this just gonna be like some weird like dark synth shit?
Boring.
Well, I didn't say boring. I assumed it was gonna be like some synthwave something or another. And then the beat comes in. I'm like, oh, okay, this is some trip hop shit.
I didn't expect a beat on this album of all albums.
Well, I wasn't expecting a beat
If
like
you
that.
think beat already came in, because both the album and the song already came in, and they're both.
You know
called
what? You're
Beat,
right. I should have
so,
expected that. It's like grooving beats with cold, like soulless guitars in the background, just droning the entire time. It's fucking awesome. Like it like you look at the cover and you're like, oh, like lifeless metropolis shit, and then you're like, oh, that's what this sounds like.
Yeah, the cover really fits it. Really shows you what you're in for.
Yeah, I think I feel like we use Vibe a lot. I certainly know I use Vibe a lot, but this one kind of takes the cake in terms of like Vibe albums. It's so extremely like its own world, and like every track is so like relentlessly doing this like thing that the whole album is doing. It's really like something to behold.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then there's a few tracks that like, give you some room to breathe, like loops and stuff like that, where just like, like kind of ambient stuff, which I appreciate. Yeah, I was not expecting this album to have like ambient shit in it. I appreciated that as well, especially in like the last track and stuff. But yeah, and there's two vocalists. They both have very, very pretty voices. I like how subdued the vocals are. They're not like upfront ever, which I think it's a really cool choice because it kind of blends into the atmosphere.
Yeah, they really have that. That's one of the clearest like shoegaze kind of elements on here, because
Oh,
a lot
yeah.
of it isn't like, they're like ostensibly a shoegaze band, but I feel like most of the elements on here are very much in line with like trip hop plus just like ambient.
Yeah, for sure.
They very much do that, like, My Bloody Valentine, like put vocals way back so you can barely understand them, and it just kind of get lost in the soundscape. Yeah, it's a good sound.
Yeah, there's something that Freddie and I were talking about the other day where if you bury the vocals in a certain way, like kind of have them far back in the mix, it kind of creates this illusion that the whole track is louder because it feels like it's swallowing them up.
Yeah, I could see that. I mean, that's Death Consciousness does that a lot, where like it feels like it's like suffocating you because the vocals are so deep in the mix.
Yeah, that's that's in the shoegaze realm for sure.
Yeah. The beats are all fucking fire. Like every single beat, like there's not a single miss on this album, in my opinion. Like there's not a single thing I'm like, I can skip that. Even like the shorter tracks, even those I'm like, oh, these are really cool. I'm not gonna skip these. It's the production on this whole album I just really love.
Yeah, do we describe like what the palette sort of this album is?
No, go on.
It's essentially like trip hop plus shoegaze with like some very strong kind of ambient sentiment.
And drone.
I would classify
and drone,
drone, yeah. So it's extremely like pushback right at the edge of consciousness kind of thing, and then most of the tracks are pretty beat driven. That's like the trip hop. I don't know. It's super groovy, and it's got that super like nocturnal kind of trip hop thing going, and then it's like got the I don't know. I mean, I talked about the vocals a second ago. That plus like the shimmery guitar gives the shoegaze thing. It's just like a very unique kind of thing that is just like super consistent through the whole album, and it just like it just like rocks. It's such a good sound.
Oh yeah.
Like with something like My Bloody Valentine, they're still kind of doing riffs a lot of the time. On these, they kind of just do something that sounds more like a synth pad, and sometimes it is just synth pads. Like there are some synths on the album for sure, but like
Oh,
when
yeah.
the guitars come in, it's just like this wash of normally this like sustained chord, and I like slowly go to the next chord. Like a lot of the songs are just like two chords back and forth.
With a really awesome bass line usually.
Yeah, very melodic bass work that really providing like the actual melodies. So yeah, it's like with the guitar sound, you often can't really hear the individual like plucks of the strings. It's just like this wall.
Yeah, it's just like a drone. But yeah.
So the tracks that some people would classify as interludes, I think, like they don't feel like they come from a different place to me. Like they feel like pretty essential to the album and not really like a departure.
I mean, basically, it just sounds like you took like one of the tracks with a beat and you took the beat away, and then you just had the droning piece in the background, because all the tracks have like drone ambience. So if you just take the beat out, that's basically what the interlude in the last track is, which is why it fits so well in my opinion. It's like you could add a beat and just be like a slapping awesome song, but they took the beat away and it still sounds awesome.
The shoegaze element kind of doesn't fully exist without some kind of percussion, it feels like.
Yeah.
But yeah, this album has one of the strongest atmospheres I think I've really ever heard. That's like
Yeah.
immediately from the opening chord, as soon as that drum loop comes in, like you know exactly what you're in for.
God, that opening track is so good. It's so good.
It's like a really weird loop too. If you like, if you really pay attention to it, like the rhythm of the drums is very like kind of stuttery. It has this weird little pause in it, which makes it feel like it's kind of like continually like lurching over.
There's like an open hat right in the middle, and it sort of makes it kind of stop for a second in the middle.
Yeah, and it has this like really loud vinyl crackle, and the way it rhythmically interacts with the bass, I like that a lot.
So good. The bass is so good. Also, can I just say that the opening track, it's droning for literally a minute and 19 seconds before the beat comes in. So when I first heard
so
this
good.
album, I was like, "Is this the whole thing?" Like, not in a bad way, but I'm like, "Is it just like ambient shit?" Like, I was not expecting that. And then the beat comes in, I'm like, "Oh, okay, I get it." The moment the bass came in, I'm like, "Okay, this album's awesome." Like immediately, like even if this one track is the only thing that sounds like this is great. And then thankfully, the whole album sounds that way, which is
Yeah. If you like the first track, I have good news
Yeah.
about the rest of the album.
Yeah.
Well, there's a lot of albums where it's like they put like the best track first, and the whole album is just trying to chase after that one track. But this is like not that at all. Like the whole album is amazing.
Yeah, I really have a hard time picking a favorite track on this.
Yeah, I don't know if I
cool.
can really. I can just say like ones that are sort of my favorites, but yeah, there's not like really one.
I guess Fear of Flying is probably my favorite, but not by much.
It's a good one.
That's definitely one I gravitate to. I feel like that one is maybe the catchiest.
Empty Words is such a good track. Like it sounds like so empty, but at the same time, it's like fills your entire ear.
Sounds like
But at
words.
the same time, it's so words.
Yeah, well, I get, I mean, if you want to say it like that, you can. I wouldn't say it like that specifically, but
Dude, you ever think a song could be like empty but have like words?
About empty. Oh, do you have anything to say about this first track other than what we've gone over?
I was gonna say, I think, I mean, I love the vocals. Words are just noise. Yeah, and I for such a long I thought it was words are just moments. They're like so quiet that you can't exactly tell what it is, but it's actually words are just noise. Words are only noise, which I started hearing upon learning that, and so now I hear words are just.
That's a
noise.
really bleak sentence, I think.
Yeah.
Words are just noise.
Well, it depends. Depends how you look at it. You could, I mean, I think it's probably meant to be bleak given the emotional quality and sound palette of the album. But I could also see it being like, one of those things where you're with somebody and you don't really have to say anything, and you're just like having some kind of moment where you don't really need to describe it or put labels on it.
Yeah, and it's not necessarily like, I don't know, like making such a strong judgment. I mean, when I like think about this, how this it is to hear that in the context of the track, it feels more like maybe like standing at the to the side of a crowd and hearing all the words and just kind of like describing the experience rather than like doing some like people need to stop talking. They're just like saying noise.
That's true.
Like, it's more of a like
Yeah.
it's more of a like you're like super high in this crowd and the words seem like noise or something like that.
Yeah,
I don't
like
know.
you
It's more
literally
like
can't make out what somebody's saying.
I get.
yeah.
Yeah, I didn't go to that. My mind went to like, oh, like like humans like are just saying shit, but it's all just noise in the grand scheme of things. Like none of it matters.
Or like the song "Words" by Low, where he says,
That song is just noise. I know that's what they're saying.
"I met more."
It's like a really specific low diss track.
Oh my god, the underground indie atmosphere fans are beefing. Oh yeah, but the song "Words" by Low, it's like the sentiment of that, like the chorus is, yeah, too many words, and I can hear them.
God, Low's so good. If you haven't listened to
Yeah.
Low, please go listen. Like any of their albums, they're all good.
I was gonna bring it up later, but I maybe since we're talking about them, the song Blacklight like totally just sounds like a Low song to me with just like more shimmeriness.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah, it kind of does. You're right. Like early Low.
Yeah, like early Low with like a shimmery guitar, but like their vocal style and like the like slow simple drum beat, it's just like all the vibes and elements are there.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I could have to hear it now. But yeah, I just want to go back around to what you're saying, like nocturnal. Like the first time I heard this album was like alone in my bathroom at like 11 o'clock at night, and it was super dark, and I was just vibing. And then the next time I heard it was in my car at night, and also it was a vibe. And I listened to it a day during the day. I'm like, yeah, this feels wrong. Like it definitely feels like it was made for like evening, night, that like dusk, like
Yeah.
that kind of shit.
It's like the perfect soundtrack to like after a party that's gone on a bit too long.
Not to be that guy, but listen to the shit you listen to when you're high, and it would hit
It
really
is.
hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, not to be like, did they make this for drug? But like, it feels that way, like in a good way. Every time I've heard this, I was sober and I loved it. So, coming from a sober man, this album slaps hard. But I'm sure if you're high, it'll slap even harder. So go on ahead, do it. We condone it. Do it. We condone drug use on this podcast.
This is an official album spotlight podcast. We're condoning all drug use.
All
Yes.
drug use, every single
Period.
one of them.
This hits different if you're sniffing glue.
Yeah, I think not only should we legalize it all, we should make it illegal to
Not
be
use
sober.
it. Yeah,
We
exactly.
should mandate it all. I'm on probation. I missed my appointment at the meth clinic.
That's cool. Empty Words feels the most shoegazy out of
It's got some real
out
shimmer.
of a lot of these tracks. Like from the very beginning, it sounds really shoegazy.
The song as a whole is still very unique, but it just has this like guitar part that's so shimmering and like this wall of sound kind of thing you would typically expect from shoegaze.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's crazy. It's really it's like such a simple track, and it's just like so effective. It's like the simple repeated drum beat. This sounds like it might be session drums. I haven't checked, but it sounds like it is. And then bass. This one has a particularly simple bass line, then shimmer guitar and vocals, and like that's it, the whole song. And like playing, sort of repeating the same general thing the whole song, and it's just like so effective.
Yeah, a lot of the songs, it's like once it gets into the meat of the song, it kind of just keeps doing it. But it's just like always such a good idea and a good atmosphere that it could really just like keep going on as like indefinitely.
Mm-hmm. I think more bands need to realize when you have a really good sound, you should just do it over and over and over again.
Yeah,
Like I mean that. Like I actually mean that.
if you have a good idea, then you should get as much out of it as it makes sense to,
Just play it until you gotta play your good idea until it becomes a bad idea.
In the project file, just like go and like just
And you, like,
clip
lop
it,
it
yeah,
off.
lop it off at the exact point you start getting bored.
That's how you do it. You take maybe like 3/4 of it, you know?
Yeah.
You're like, okay, I'm like tremendously sick of it by this point, so let's just take like 3/4 and then okay, now we got like a nice long section.
Yeah.
You got to do what serves the song at the end of the day. Like, you know, like a genre like grindcore will have riffs that like would be satisfying if they played them longer, but it would like probably decrease the intensity.
Yeah.
It's just like whatever you're going for, you have to serve the song above all else. I saw like a really bad take about this band that they're like good at atmosphere but bad at writing songs. It's like, what are you talking about? Like, what's like the difference here?
Wait, what?
They're so yeah, they're just like one and the same on like yeah, they're not like trying to just like write pop songs on this album, you know? Like the point is the atmosphere plus like the sort of really spare songwriting, like that's the whole point.
Is this like a review you're reading, or who said this?
It was just like a rate your music comment somewhere, I'm pretty
Oh,
sure.
I see. Yeah, missed the whole point of the album. Why don't you?
Yeah, it's just the most annoying shit when someone's critique in quotes of a, you know, of like any piece of art is like, I wish it was this different thing,
Yeah.
you know? Like, I
Yeah.
wish I was listening to something else. It's just like, okay, that means like, okay, sure, you're allowed to want to listen to something else, but that means that you're not like the point is that you engage with the thing, you buy it with on its own internal logic, and you come to understand it by, you know, on its own on the footing it sets out, and then maybe you get something out of it. If you don't even like embark on that process, then you're not like, you know, engaging with art. You're just like looking for your preconceived like ideas to be just like echoed back to you in a pleasing manner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point. I do think sometimes people go in the other direction and they'll think that the be all end all of like any art criticism is just evaluating it based on like some perception of what the artist was trying to do.
Yeah.
I do think that like that should to an extent be kept in mind because like it's not like Bowery Electric was trying to make like a Cage the Elephant album on this or some shit.
Yeah.
But also I don't know, like sometimes somebody will be like, oh, you know, just like why are you hating on this album so much? They were just trying to like they were clearly just having fun. They weren't trying to make the best album ever. It's like, yeah, and I think it's not the best album ever because they weren't trying to make the best album ever. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like you should think this is a masterpiece because they were trying to make an all right album and it turned into an all right album. Yeah, no,
Yeah,
Yeah.
like that's another thing I see like in the opposite direction. But yeah, it's like you have to kind of have a little bit of like just hearing something and being able to understand the context it came from. Like you could hear this and be like, okay, they're not stupid. They know what a pop song sounds like, and
Yeah.
this isn't like a failure of making pop music, you know, where they just like don't know. Like they're trying to write an Alanis Morissette album, and then they like fucked up and ended up with this, and this is the best they could do. It's like, oh,
Yeah.
well, where are the choruses? They like forgot that that's how you make a song that's good.
Then the other one is like, oh, this is the concept of the album, so it's a good album because the concept's this, or they wrote it from because of this emotional thing. Well, yeah, but if the album sucks, then it doesn't matter.
yeah, or like yeah, like look how much work they put into doing this thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I have a concept album. The concept is that it sucks.
No, really, like people be like, oh, this came from like a really emotional place from them. Like, I don't. Yeah, the album's bad though.
Yeah, that's like one of those like teenager on YouTube comments things where it's just like they if you listen to them talk about this album, it was like they it was so emotional. They made it about like, you know, their life and it's so personal and like their mental health and like what yeah, it's
It
just
doesn't
like
make it
no.
good.
I think honestly that's kind of part of why I wanted to do this podcast is that I feel like so many people they just kind of think that having an opinion is criticism.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah. Like you're
yeah. You're right.
it hits your ears and then like that's like the true impression of it, you know, like right when it hits your ears exactly the first thing you think. This completely backwards way of like understanding how how you should like be engaging with something. You want to like get something out of, it's like
Yeah.
this process of digging into it and like uncovering and like assessing and piecing together, and I don't know. Anyway.
Yeah, it's like not to feed into the whole thing that some artists do when they get a bad review of like, oh, you shouldn't comment on it unless you've done
Yeah.
it, like unless you make art too. But
You make it now better.
yeah, you can unless you've made the wall, then shut up. But like your critique should have a little bit of effort put into it. If the album is a real album, then chances are so much more effort was put into that album. Moment.
Yeah, but go on. Fight for fighting. If you're wondering what that is, people.
The artist put more effort into that album, even if it's bad, than you did into your critique, like no matter what. But you should put like some effort into it. You should just like have a good faith effort to be like, okay, what is this album doing? Do I think it works? Like, how does it sit with me?
Yeah.
What context is this meant for?
And like listen to it more than once before you make your final fucking opinion on it. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Anyway, talking a lot of shit this episode.
Yeah, we're fired up. We're coming in hot. Like I said, this is an aggressive album. It's called Beat.
This is actually one of the least aggressive albums I've probably heard.
Yeah.
Yeah. Extremely slow and lethargic.
Yeah. Although sometimes the drums, like if they were in a different context, they would hit like super hard. Like they're kind of blown out sometimes, like especially on Without Stopping. Like that.
I was just thinking of Without Stopping. Yeah.
That beat would be kind of murderous in a different context, but because it's so atmospheric, it's like very driving. It really like takes you there.
It's got this like sort of like wall of synth drones the whole time, which are like really kind of thick and have some like dissonance to them. Yeah, like some of like what they're doing on like Rising Sun of a Mezzanine, it's like if that was like way stripped back with like shoegaze vocals, that's sort of starting to maybe approach a little bit of what the palette on this album is. Like it has that the really like kind of grimy urban like middle of like the city kind of thing.
Yeah.
I mean, the best way I can describe this is like Mezzanine's like you're fucked up on drugs and it's nighttime. Hats by Blue Mile is like end of the day, everything's mournful, but there's still lights, in the city that you can look at and find some kind of hope and solace in that. This album, it's just like a metropolis. Everything's gray. There's no lights. And it just kind of like you've accepted your surroundings. That's kind of what it feels like to me.
Yeah, it's almost like kind of like forgotten what the lights that there could be lights. It's like it doesn't even like lights. It's just kind of like doing its thing, in the darkness. There's not really any like longing to it,
This is what this is.
Like this is
Yeah, I guess it kind of like I got a similar feeling the one time I worked a night shift. Everything is so still and nothing is really happening, and it just I don't know. Everything feels like upside down. I don't know, very liminal.
Yeah, very liminal.
Like a public building with lights on when it's like dead.
Yeah. Like a like you're like a subway and there's no one else in the subway and you're just waiting for the train. Like that kind of shit. Just like empty city buildings, that kind of shit. Yeah, for sure. That's a really good comparison, Friday.
Yeah. Like if you go on a campus in the summer at night, nobody's around, and like if any of the buildings are open, that kind of eerie like ghost town vibe, but everything's like still upkept.
Yeah, it reminds me of walking by like at my old apartment, like walking by the grocery store with like the lights, like it would be like Weiss would still have their lights like all on.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? Like walking by and you can just see everything is like the same inside except there's nobody there, and it's like this totally eerie thing. Yeah.
What do you guys think of this album and this band being tagged as post-rock?
I don't hear it at all.
I don't really see it
personally. Okay.
Yeah, me neither.
Yeah, I didn't even know people would consider this. This to me, this is clearly like shoegaze, trip hop with some ambient stuff. I really don't hear any kind of post rock influence at all.
Yeah, I hear way more drone than I hear post rock personally.
There isn't really, I don't know, like beat driven hip hop associated post rock. I feel like I just like go into other genres. I feel like that's just like trip hop, you know? Like it just like shifts into like being a more trip hoppy thing as soon as you have like a like hip hop oriented kind of thing. And so like yes, in a formal sense, I see like it's spacey, it has guitars, it's using sort of like some rock elements for some clearly sort of non-rock means, which is sort of the formal definition, or like some non-rock, what, not rock elements for non-rock end. That's what I meant to say, which is sort of the formal definition of post-rock, but like only like the formal definition. In practice, I feel like that is I don't know, it just like this is just clearly like other genres.
I never even considered this post rock when I listened to it.
Yeah.
I'm curious why people would assume or think that when they listen to this.
It's in the band's bio on Spotify.
Really? Oh,
I believe. I mean, it's a quote from a music critic, but still, it's like at the forefront of a distinctively American post rock. It's like American post rock is excellent, you know.
yeah.
It can only really be like, I guess the only way I could to be like charitable would just be to say like you know, this was in the 90s. This was like, you know, this is obviously pre like the crescendo core thing being established.
Crescendo core.
Yeah, like yeah, you know what I mean.
Yeah, no, I know
like,
exactly what you mean.
Post rock was a new term, and it was like closer to like that formal definition I gave, you know, like rock bands who are like going and doing these things that are clearly not rock but have like all of the rock elements in them.
Yeah.
So I guess that it could be post rock in that sense, but that feels very
Yeah.
that feels like a stretch in 2023, you know.
Yeah. I mean, it feels like people who are like use alt rock as a like a genre tag for like all of these different sounds, because like, oh, it's a different rock, so it's alt rock. Like, oh, it's like it's spacey, so it's post rock. Like, I feel like that's probably what happened.
As much as it is shoegaze, it almost like isn't rock.
It doesn't really strike me as a rock album first. It's like trip hop and drone first, you know.
Yeah.
And then it's sort of like rock as a sort of afterthought.
Yeah, and sure, like it's kind of weird talking about something like Lift Your Skinny Fist as a rock album, or like F sharp, A sharp. So like fair enough. But also like if you look on Rate Your Music and the Rate Your Music charts, and you just look up like albums that are trip hop and shoegaze, there's like almost nothing.
Yeah.
It's like, as far as albums that have over 100 ratings, there's only 3 of them. One of them is this. And then the other two, one is called Silver Apples of the Moon that looks interesting, and the other one is like a Jisoo album, which is like probably true. But
yeah, Jisoo's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Out of curiosity, did their first album have this same sound or
elements? But it's more shoegaze.
More shoegaze, okay.
I'd say the songwriting style is very similar, but it doesn't have the same feeling as this one does, or the same sound palette with the live drums. It is very hypnotic in a similar way and repetitive, and it's just like all about reinforcing a groove and an atmosphere. Like if you like this album, you'll also like that one.
Okay.
But I do think they really hit on something here that's kind of missing from that album.
Yeah. Okay.
These instrumentals just kind of needed beats like this.
Yeah, this is really what like brought it together.
Yeah.
This is the one that you were like, okay, this is their sound. Like,
yeah, like the first album, the drums are doing a pretty similar thing, but like something that I've noticed with this album is even when it's live drums, they're never doing fills. It almost invokes a feeling like you don't know how you got where you are, like you've just been going somewhere and then you're like,
how long has it been like this? I have no idea.
Yeah.
There aren't like indicators of how long it's been going.
Very much feels like going through the motions.
Yeah, like if you're doing a long road trip at night or something, and then you just are on autopilot, and you're like, I have not paid attention to a single thing I've done for the last 30 minutes, and I like don't know how I got here. It's like kind of that feeling in music form.
Yeah,
it's a scary feeling.
Yeah,
like you're just like, oh fuck, like I don't remember the last 20 minutes, and I'm just driving. It's like you go into autopilot.
Fully trusting your subconscious when you're in a very fast-moving vehicle.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy that the human body just lets that happen. But you know,
Yeah.
I agree. This album feels very much like this is always how it's been, kind of feel. You know.
Hmm. Definitely listen to the first one though. I mean, I really like all three of Bowery Electric's albums.
They don't miss.
They all miss. The one after this is like straight up trip hop.
Okay.
Yeah, it's pretty funny. They just did like the gradient from like shoegaze to trip hop. We caught them right in the middle with this album.
Yeah, yeah. It's hard not to kind of want more of the shoegazy textures, but at the same time, the songwriting style does lend itself to more just straight up trip hop as well. So it does make a nice atmosphere. It sounds very nice as well. So
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
A contender for my favorite. I already talked about it, but the track Blacklight, I really love.
Mhm.
Oh, it has sort of a guitar solo that's like so washed back. It's like so like washy and weird. That's just kind of like this like these sort of like waves of sound, but it's got like some like dynamics to it. Feels very. It has a bit of that centerpiece quality to it because of that. Whatever they're saying, it's like I want to hold you close forever or whatever.
Yeah.
It like reminds me of what I love about so much low stuff, where it's like you just have like the couple people you can like hold on to in this big black void kind of thing. Anyway,
yeah, I feel it. Yeah, I really like the crescendos on there. Like just the walls of guitar are so satisfying on that track.
I just looked at the lyric. That's like every day he breaks his promise, turned to dusk and fades away. Looked for another gin and tonic, realize it's not there. So this is a song about not having a gin and tonic, which I think we can all relate to.
Yeah,
Oh
I do
yeah.
feel that way when I run out of tonic water. Like, right now, I'm out of gin and tonic water. I have neither gin nor tonic.
Yeah, I could have been drinking a gin and tonic right now.
Tonic, you say?
If you could
You
only
could only
see
see
the way she
loves me.
maybe you would understand.
Say you love, but you don't, but don't, but you whoa. If you could only see the way.
Remember when we were like actually considering doing like a Deftones like style
Yeah.
like cover of that?
I still stand by that would have been fucking great. It's
Yeah,
I know, like the song's like almost good, you know. Like, we
exactly.
could
It's
have just
so
made it good.
close. It's just the production. The guitars are so quiet.
that actually is like the best kind of song to cover. Is one that like has some good ideas but just isn't executed in the best way. So like somebody else could execute that better.
Yeah, that's why the covers of Bob Dylan songs are always better than the Bob Dylan songs.
Because he never learned how to sing.
Yeah, he should have. I would, man, what an idiot. He just didn't even realize he can't even like hit the notes
It
right.
Yeah,
took me a
that's
second to
why.
be like, Freddie, are you joking? And then I'm like, oh, okay. Towards the end, I was like, oh, okay.
That's why I just went online and I just looked up all his lyrics, printed them out. I just have like a binder and I just read through them. And I'm like, yeah, I'm a Bob Dylan fan. I can't fucking listen to it though.
No, did
Yeah.
you tell the podcast that you've listened to every single Bob Dylan album? Have you told
I don't
them?
think I have. I've listened to every single Bob Dylan album,
Like
every single
actually
Bob
all
Dylan
of them.
studio album. Yeah, all. What are we up to? Was it
And
like 43?
let me tell you, audience, at least 70% of those albums are dog shit.
I wouldn't say dog shit. Oh,
At least 99% of those albums suck so much ass.
he has like 3 good songs. Let's be clear.
Let's be okay. Maybe more like 60% of it is not good.
I'd say like probably 30 to 40% is actually worth listening to, which is like more than most people make. It's just that
Especially
he's
with
made
how much
so
music he
many.
has. Yeah.
Okay, he's up to 40, exactly 40 studio albums. Okay.
So awesome.
So yeah, I listened to all of them at least once, usually more than once. I think maybe all of them more than once. Just for like no reason. It wasn't worth.
We had a PowerPoint presentation party and you chose Bob Dylan.
Yeah, I mean, of course, like I gotta get something out of like those like hundreds of hours I spent on that. So.
Yeah, I would expect most hardcore Bob Dylan fans haven't heard his like entire discography.
Yeah, like most of them have not heard Down in the Groove, and nobody should. Nobody has to.
Nobody should.
Do you think Bob Dylan could ever do a shoegaze album like this?
No.
That'd be so awesome if like he just like suddenly after what Rough and Rowdy Ways or whatever his last one was called, he just comes out with like a full-on shoegaze album, except the vocals are just like
Alone.
I'm going to list rappers.
Okay.
Tell you how they would do rapping over Postscript by Bowery Electric. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
okay.
Drake.
Terrible.
You can do it. Really? Oh yeah. If it was current Drake, obviously.
Fight.
Okay, are we talking? Are we saying like at their peak? Is that what we're saying?
Okay, I immediately went to like he made. If you're reading this, I think he could do it. I guess I'm talking about at his peak.
Okay, at his peak, Drake could probably pull it off.
If I'm talking about if we're talking about like average Drake performance, then like obviously not.
Obviously.
I don't know. In terms of like ability to pull it off, I think he does have the ability.
The thing with Drake is I think he still has that if you're reading this in him. I think he just doesn't care enough to do it most of the time. I think he'll pull it off for like a couple songs, like Nice for What and stuff like that. And he just does not carry for the whole project.
Yeah, I think he just like sitting in his mansion and like coming out to like make a song.
I mean, he's like one of the richest people ever. Like he just does not need to make a cohesive project. But he's doing it like so often. He'll make like so many albums.
I bet like he spends a total of like 10 minutes on all of those songs.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So okay. So if we're saying rappers at their best, like they're trying really hard, then I think Drake could pull off.
Yeah, I think Drake, who's trying, I think certainly could. I think it could be really cool.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's say Kendrick Lamar.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, it would be a stylistic departure for him, but I mean, he's just like so talented.
Yeah,
he's I'm sure he could do it.
Yeah, I'm sure he could pull it off.
Okay.
I do wonder what he would do though.
Yeah,
you know?
I don't know.
He's like Drake, it's like not that big. I've heard Drake do things that aren't that far from just like rapping over. I mean, they're a little far, but like if this had trap drums, like it could be.
Yeah,
he's been like cloud rap adjacent for a while.
Yeah, like Drake can float. You know, I haven't really. Kendrick is like so like in your face, you know, and it's so much about like fast and performance. So it would be very much a departure for him. I'd be interested to hear what he'd do. You know, I have a lot of confidence in him, so I think it could be cool, but it would be more of a like, interesting. Yeah.
Okay. I feel that. How about Playboy Cardi?
Yes.
Probably, yeah. I mean, a lot of the stuff already is just like ambient with trap shit going on.
No drums on this though.
Yeah, though I bet if we like pulled him in now, because the thing with Playboy Cardi, you know, is like Drake, I feel like can make good music if he tries. Playboy Cardi, I do worry after hearing his A Whole Lot of Red. This will be, I guess, a lukewarm take, that I do worry that like his good stuff, because I think that album's shit.
Yeah.
Hot take, lukewarm take.
I have not heard it, so
yeah,
can't say.
So I do worry that if we like pulled in like Playboy Cardi today, it was like maybe a bit of a fluke, the good music he made, or it was like the people he was working with a little more. And so I do worry about, and you know that famous thing with like his freestyle.
Yeah, his XL freshman freestyle was like terrible, and people thought he was like a joke, like on the level of Lil Xan at first.
Yeah, so I actually think he might bomb it. I think he might suck. I don't think he'd know what to do. but
I mean,
I don't know.
That is fair.
Yeah. I should say, I didn't really define the parameters very clearly. I guess I didn't establish whether they're rapping over the entirety of Postscript. I think like I would assume like not. I would assume like
oh, so it's not the full like 16 minutes.
Yeah, like probably like 2.5 to 2.5 minutes to like as long as they want to be on it. Like if they do the whole thing, then they do the whole thing. But
we should probably mention that Postscript is a 16-minute 41-second drone piece.
Very good, by the way. One of the highlights of the album. Yeah. Do you have any other rappers for us?
Lil Wayne.
He would kill it.
Interesting.
He would kill it.
Yeah.
I don't know if this is a hot take, but I think Lil Wayne's just like just a really good rapper.
A lot of people say he's like in the GOAT conversation.
I agree. I think he's really good. Like I think he could probably pull it off. I mean, it would take him some time to figure out what to do, I think, but give him some time.
I don't think he's like an album artist.
No.
Yeah, that's really what it is. Yeah, he's like an artist.
Yeah.
But this would be like a really cool like individual single performance kind of thing.
Yeah, I feel like if you put Lil Wayne on something this weird, then that would maybe like be enough of like something to spark him to like actually want to do a good job on it. Final Eminem.
Bro, he would kill it.
Yeah, dude, put M on this.
Marshall can rap over anything.
Who better to kill it than the goat?
When someone refers to Eminem as Marshall, you know they just there's like a 90% chance that they would say like they would join the military, you know, like they wanted to,
Yeah.
but they got like medically disqualified. They like pretend to have been medically disqualified.
Yeah, I bet. I don't know. I mean, it depends on what era of Eminem we're talking about. Probably we can agree that Eminem, posts like his like couple good albums probably would at any time would not do very well.
Yeah,
But like classic Eminem, I feel like maybe he might do something cool. He was really creative way back when. I think he could do something cool. It would be very different again, but like, yeah.
All right, real last rapper, Miles. What do you think?
shut up. Let me just forget about him. He's just trolling.
What about Dream?
What about Dream? Freddie, do you know Miles?
Like I know that I know that it's a thing. But no, I don't remember what it.
And then Nathaniel keeps spamming me with his songs. You sent me the same Martin Luther King song like 3 times, Nathaniel.
I know, but they're all
So
different edits of it.
Are they?
Yeah.
I literally didn't notice.
Just why would you listen far enough to know?
Yeah, exactly. Why would you send it then if you didn't know?
Because it's funny.
Because you just like tormenting. Yeah, actually, I checked out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess it's pretty consistent with your behavior, actually. All right, well,
Glad you
that's been a fun segment. Thank you guys for joining me on that. I think we were a lot more optimistic than I expected us to be about their chances on the postscript beat. Okay, to actually talk about postscript, it is like so similar throughout most of it. I think a band with less restraint would have had a beat come in at some point or some kind of build or something. But it's just like a true blue ambient drone piece.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, it has a lot of the same sonic qualities as the rest of it, but just I mean, it just like kind of keeps going. It's so like thick and enveloping. It's very minimal. I love it. I honestly love hearing it all the way through.
Yeah, a thing I love on this track is like, while it is like a drone track, and it will be like basically the same thing for like multiple minutes at a time, it is like there's a real like evolution to it,
Mhm.
which you can hear when you're just like sit and listen. There's like this like thing, the tootin thing that like comes
Yeah.
in, that sort of comes in, and then there's like a real sort of cool like outro to it, like this thing it does at the end. Yeah, like this like that.
Let me hear
Um,
that shit.
it has like a real kind of like story to it, as subtle as it is. That's a thing I really love. I don't know. I'm such a fan of stuff like this. I think yeah, it's really well executed.
Well said, Freddy boy.
Well said, Fredster. You're truly the best of us.
Oh, probably in the middle.
Freddy's definitely mid tier on this podcast,
Yeah.
which leaves either me or Nathaniel at the bottom. We're gonna have to fight it out.
I won't say who's at the
I think we
bottom.
all know who's at the bottom.
It's Craig.
Craig,
Craig is
fucking
the bottom.
Craig.
Sorry, Craig.
There's a friend we had named Craig. He was in the first few episodes, but we actually muted his microphone and cut him out entirely. If you're wondering why this pauses, because that's where Craig was talking. He was just kind of racist, overall not a great guy, so we had to cut him out. But yeah, we just wanted to say it now because I know people are talking about him. So yeah, Craig is out of the podcast. He's no longer affiliated with the album Spotlight. So I just want to get that out there. Put
We
that out.
disavow, we disavow, we disavow.
We disavow, yeah. So I just want to let everyone know.
But also, it was Nathaniel's fault because he invited him.
I thought, we could have a civil discussion. I knew he was like that, but I didn't realize I didn't think he would start talking about classical music being better than jazz and how rap isn't real music. Like I didn't realize he was that bad,
Well, if you knew he was pretty bad, why'd you have him on, man? Like maybe we need to have a conversation with you because Freddie and
I
we
mean-
fought against this.
I know, but
But
you
like,
guys
kinda
also
strong-armed your way to getting it in here.
invited fucking.
Oh, that's not fair.
He's one of the good ones.
Come on now.
That's not fair. You know he
He
means
has
well.
a Jewish friend.
You have to take what he said in context, Nathaniel.
In context. That's literally what people do though. Whenever it's like people saying like literal like white supremacist shit, it's like, well, in the context of what he said, it's actually not that bad.
And they never say what the context was.
Yeah,
It's
like, what's the
okay,
context?
tell me what the context was.
Yeah, what was the context? Please
Tell me what it actually
enlighten
meant.
me.
Yeah, fuck Craig though.
Fuck Craig and fuck. They actually started their own podcast, so if you really want to hear what they have to say about music, you can go listen to them.
Honestly, it was fine. It just wasn't that funny.
Yeah.
I don't know. Stuff he said about, you know, well, I don't want to get into it, but he said some pretty hateful shit. Craig was just unfunny and annoying. It was a legitimate.
Okay, this bit gotten like this has gotten like so like esoteric.
This isn't real, by the way. These are not real people. We're just making shit up. I hope people know this.
Yeah, we would have met somebody if they came on. We wouldn't actually, you know. But yeah, back to postscript. This episode's gonna need some TLC in the editing booth again.
Apologies.
No, it's okay. I was instigating a lot of it. When you're listening to a drone piece, there's a certain way you have to listen to it. I think Freddie and I talked about it a bit with the first album that we talked about on this podcast. In our culture broadly, we're just kind of brought up to expect there are going to be different sections that are going to do different things, and they're going to be at roughly this pace. And for a song to just kind of stretch out like that, like the progression of it is still there, but like if you're not listening to it right, you won't really hear it.
Yeah.
And you're like kind of examining it like a painting or something, and then like seeing how it like subtly moves in front of you. And you're being like, okay, this element's coming in, this element's going out, and then kind of like remembering how it started and where it ended up. I think that kind of like in a way takes some practice. Like I definitely didn't really know what to do with like ambient and drone music when I first heard it.
Oh yeah.
It's really a skill you have to sort of develop just by.
Is it a skill or is it a tolerance?
I'd say it's both.
It's a bit of both, I think.
Basically, the development for me was learning to just kind of like, you sit in a soundscape, and then what I do is basically sort of like reach out with my ear and just kind of like pick out little things going on, like try to pick out as many like elements going on as I can, and just kind of like try to appreciate all of them. It like gives you the time to like really like pick out every individual little thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I find, and what I think tends to happen, you start to like identify things that aren't really there or only like sort of there. You like start to just like hear things in the soundscape. They're just like these sort of like maybe illusory, maybe not things coming through. It like turns into so much more of like a story as you sort of just like do this process. Like that's really what you kind of do, rather than just like listen to it for a second. It's like that's boring.
Yeah, that's
anyway.
There are a lot of tracks that we didn't like touch on in a specific way, but yeah.
If you like one, you like all of them.
Yeah, it's one of those.
Not a bad track on this album, really.
It's very much like an album before a collection of tracks,
Yeah.
Like I often don't like pay that much attention to which particular track is playing at any moment. It's really about like the album.
We talked about our album that we made, right, on the podcast that we.
Not much.
No, okay.
I don't think we've definitely never explicitly said that the intro song is something we made.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, hey, by the way, we did that.
Yeah, that was our old band, and the three of us have a new recording project, and the album will hopefully be out soon. As we were recording this, it's almost done with mixing.
I'm very excited.
Yeah, we'll let you listeners know when that album is ready, and it'll be good shit. It's not just like, I don't know, like YouTuber music or something.
YouTuber music. Well, that's good. Glad to hear it.
Yeah, it's like I don't know when somebody not known for making music is like, I'm gonna make an album. It's hard to be excited, but also we're
Yeah,
not really
well,
known for anything, so that makes it
exactly.
easy.
If anything, we're music people who went to podcasting.
This is true.
Yeah.
Let's wrap this sucker up.
Well, I like this album.
I think it's fair to say we all do.
Yeah, this is probably top 3 trip hop albums I've heard in my life. Although it's kind of hard to like say what because like trip hop's like such a varied sound between uh bands.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, this album rocks. It's really fucking awesome. So if you need a nice like low key nocturnal shit to listen to, check it out. It's really good.
Oh yeah.
I agree.
Yeah, if you want to chill out or you're just kind of like out late at night and you need something to listen to, kind of fit the vibe. If you're into shoegaze, if you're into ambient, I don't know, like whichever, like if you're into any of that stuff, I think you'll find something to like here.
It's a bit of everything.
Yeah, it's got something for everyone.
Got something for everyone. It's about family, and
For
that's
the
what's
whole
really
family.
important.
Beat by Bowery Electric. It's about family.
It's about family. Thanks for listening, by the way. We appreciate all the views.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening. We love you. Not really. We don't know you, but we appreciate you.
You're so mean.
Yeah.
I don't want to know parasocial shit.
Hey man, it's all parasocial. You can't avoid it to an extent. You can't connect if it's not a little parasocial.
Then in that case, then thanks for listening, boys.
You gonna barf, bro?
And girl.
No, I was a burp.
Okay. Well, that's kind of rude. So
See ya.
See you around.
let's see. Not if I see them first.
That's I don't, is that a threat?
Well, it depends if they like the album or not.